Hi everyone, Rod Armandi, immigration and personal injury attorney, here to do a quick video to go over all the stuff that's happened during the Trump administration. Obviously, the first day, second term, Trump issued 10 executive orders with an effort to redefine American immigration, and they basically went after everybody from cross-border who are seeking refuge to even people who are born in the United States. That are born to people on temporary visas, something that has never been announced and has never even been thought of doing. But basically, anybody who's born after February 19th, 2025, which is coming up in a few days, would not be able to obtain U.S. citizenship if they're born to someone on a visitor visa, some kind of temporary visa. So basically, there's a lot to go over. I wanted to just make this quick video. I'm just touching on some of the stuff. Obviously, these are all just policies and orders. We will have to await the rules that are going to be issued and how they're going to implement them. We're unsure. But basically, they've ordered the expansion. First thing is ordered the expansion of expedited removal. So basically, anybody who entered without inspection, so they didn't have a visa, they weren't lawfully permitted into the United States, and they've been here for less than 2 years, they can be removed without a court hearing. That's what expedited removal means. So you don't have a right to go to the court and have an attorney represent you and present any applications that you may be actually legitimately eligible for. You're not going to be able to do that. It is going to be the immigrant's burden to show that they've been here for more than 2 years. And this has already begun. And as we know, a lot of people are being arrested and a lot of people are being expeditedly removed. Another thing is that they're requiring all non-citizens to register and present their fingerprints to the U.S. government under a rarely used provision of the U.S. law. All those who do not comply are subject to criminal penalties. So basically, this is going to turn people who maybe they entered with a visitor visa or some kind of visa and now they've overstayed, and so they're subject to actually civil penalties, and they're not criminals as they're trying to label everybody. They will be able to, through this law, if you don't abide by this, once it gets implemented. It hasn't been implemented yet, but once it gets implemented, if you don't go register and you're a non-citizen, then you can basically be labeled a criminal and then arrested and put through hell and basically tried to be deported. So this mass deportation thing is a serious thing that is already taking place right now as we speak. Basically, almost 30 days past the inauguration of the Trump as a president and Trump's administration, moving really quickly to try to make all these changes. Other changes are DHS. They're trying to order DHS not to give EADs, so work permits, to people without other legal status who have pending applications, even if they have a asylum application, even if they have a green card application because they have a spouse who's a United States citizen or a parent or a child, and they have a legitimate way to get a green card. Well, they're going to try to implement new rules. Again, this is an executive order, this is a policy, but if it is implemented, then that means a lot of people are not going to be able to work while they have legitimate pending applications. This is obviously going to affect the U.S. economy for a lot of people who can contribute to the U.S. economy. But it is what it is, right? So directing the Office of Management and Budget to take action to ensure no public benefits are provided to unauthorized immigrants. We'll have to wait to see how that's going to be implemented as well. There's another one that's threatening the revocation of all federal funding to states and localities that are designated as sanctuary jurisdictions. So these are places that immigrants are basically in a safe area where federal ICE agents, it's much more difficult for them to try to detain them, and so that's one of the other policies or executive orders. Basically, these policies and executive orders are kind of weaving in. But they've also ordered DHS to expand 287G agreements with state and local law enforcement to mobilize them as partners in enforcing federal immigration law. So, states back in a long time ago, like Arizona sheriff, where they were starting to arrest people, but basically local law enforcement or state law enforcement can assist DHS in arresting immigrants. Obviously this is going to be on a state by state or city by city police law enforcement decision. So like, for example, Los Angeles, where I'm at, has already announced that they're not going to be assisting, because that is something that ICE agents, and that's the federal law enforcement's responsibility to do that. Other things that they're doing is basically as you probably already know, they sent the military to the border to seal the border. They want to basically build a wall that's going to expand all across the Mexico-U.S. border. How practical that is, it's not. But that is what they are going to try to do. They've directed DHS and State Department to reinstate migrant protection protocols. So that means that people who are asylum seekers, they come to the border, they seek asylum, they may have been persecuted, or they have been persecuted in their country, and they are legitimately in fear of their life. Well, they're going to have to remain in Mexico. They're not going to be allowed to enter the country to then present their case and their application in court. They were going to have to wait. It's going to cause a lot of issues for people that are going to miss a lot of hearings. As happened before during the first Trump administration, when this was happening, people wouldn't be able to stay, or they wouldn't be able to come back to go to their court hearing, and then they would get issued basically a removal order in their absence, which is known as an in absentia removal order. So there's a lot of things. I'm just going down the list here. They've already eliminated CBP One app to allow people to make appointments at the border to come into the country at port of entries. This has affected about 270,000 people at the time. They have terminated parole programs and will continue to terminate any other parole programs. They've already announced this quickly after. So Cuban, Haitian, Nicaraguan, Venezuela, these are all parole programs. Basically, parole now is this really bad word that anybody's been paroled, which meant you actually were allowed into the country, now is going to be targeted for expedited removal order. So a lot of these people who have been paroled in the last 2 years, well, they could be subject to expedited removal potentially. Now, they've also ordered review of TPS designation, that's temporary protected status, a type of form of temporary status to people where their country has experienced some kind of disaster, natural disaster, some kind of war, something that's going on. So these include countries like El Salvador and a number of other countries where they're going to review the designations by the Biden administration. They've suspended arrivals of refugees indefinitely as of January 1st, 2025. Only those who they're saying that only those who may assimilate in the U.S. are going to be allowed as refugees in the future. What that means, nobody knows at this point. But we're going to have to wait and see how they implement all this. And then one of the last things is basically I wanted to go over is instructing officials to create a list of countries that are alleged to share insufficient info with the United States for vetting purposes. So this is laying the groundwork for the travel bans that occurred during the first administration against a number of countries, including Iran, where people had legitimate ways. They had family members, spouses, children, parents, or they were just people of extraordinary ability who could really help the U.S. economy. Well, they're going to be banned and not allowed to come to the country based solely on the fact that they were born in a certain country and nothing else other than merit, individual merit or anything like that. Obviously, we're going to wait. There's already been lawsuits on some of these things. I'm not going to go over that, but the lawsuits will obviously come, and we'll have to wait and stay tuned for any updates regarding how this will play out. The situation's obviously fluid. Stay safe. If you feel like you're affected by any of this, I strongly encourage you to reach out to an attorney and seek legal advice. Obviously, this is not legal advice, and it's just an update that I wanted to provide very quickly, and it's a very quick and dirty update, so it's not extensive. So if you do need to reach me, you can reach me at rodarmandelaw.com. You can also call me at 213-567-4494. Stay safe and take care.